Guys, there's another Dennis Prager fireside chat. Does he do one of these every week? Wait, he did 2 last week. All right. Let's oh gosh. Wait, who's Okay, this isn't the lady I thought it was. I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. Hello, Mojo Muffins. How's it going? These are the worst. Okay. I think I'm gonna do Dennis Prager on lockdowns, and then if I have energy in the tank, we'll watch this video, okay? And I do also want to watch this video with Candace Owens, or this one. Excuse me. Wait, sorry, wait. Antifa and BLM attack conservatives? Oh gosh, I want to watch all
everybody,
these.
Dennis Prager in my home.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm excited. Are you guys excited? Get excited. We're about to spend more time with this excellent dog down here. Hello, Riva Jack. I'm from Brazil, and just like many Brazilians, I'm a lover of American women. I would really like to have bedtime with you and listen to your cutie voice, and perhaps do some coitus. And perhaps do some coitus and engage and marry each other. Our wedding would be in some favela of Rio de Janeiro. What do you think? I'm stuck on the do some coitus part. It's easily the worst phrasing of like have sex I've ever heard in my life, and I'm kind of here for it. I'll consider it. How about that? I'll consider it just as much as that offer deserves. Oh gosh. Well, thank you for instantly improving my outlook on this video. Creamy colon juices, thank you very much for waiting for me. Oh god. All right. I need to put, okay. All right. It's game time. I can't lose it on stream like this. All right. By the way, this is not an excuse for other people to message me like this. Please don't. Please don't. Gosh.
Home with my dog. His name is Otto, O-T-T-O. And many of you always include regards to Otto, and the thought that I should give him a rub. You're a good man, Otto.
Wait, how else would you spell Otto? Why did he have to spell it?
Oh, I have to say, has not been affected by the tensions in America at this time. He's sort of oblivious, I have to admit, and sometimes I envy him.
Look at how nonpartisan Dennis Prager is. He's got red and blue on his tie. Clearly, he's a man of the people. He's an enlightened centrist, everybody.
But he has this what me worry attitude to life. And when he snores, I get relaxed. I mean, I'm pretty relaxed anyway. It's my temperament. I am very lucky. Anyway, hello from my home. The fireside chat is every week. I get...
Dennis Prager, you being relaxed might also have something to do with the fact that you're extremely wealthy. Maybe something like that. Maybe.
To think and express my thoughts to you without any... footnotes, no, not footnotes, without any, what are they called again? When you read off the screen? Teleprompter. No teleprompter, yeah. So then I take your questions.
Yeah, we want this raw, unadulterated.
I do want to remind you, by the way, about Fireside Chat. If you are touched by these, please know, what are we up to, about 150 something?
161.
161. This is Fireside Chat 161. Any of them would be beneficial to you, I believe. In other words, if you find today's beneficial, you will find number 103 and number 57 also beneficial. Because
Exxon 2 is
I
looking
try to
different.
offer
True.
thoughts about life, even though it
We
might
failed.
be about
This
a
is
specific
the
moment in time.
this is the cutscene that plays when you fail XCOM 2. It's true. It's true.
So anyway, I want to talk to you about a number of aspects on the lockdown issue, which I have opposed from the outset. I called the lockdowns the world's biggest mistake, and that was in March or April. And I was condemned, and I was ridiculed, and I was right. That's the irony. I'm not happy I was right.
Is his argument that he was right because the virus continued to spread despite the lockdowns? But like we saw, like, guys, if you look up the number of cases in this country, you see it like dip and level off for a good chunk of time. That was because of the lockdowns, guys. It gave our hospitals time to treat people and not become overwhelmed. I guess his argument is that, well, it didn't do good enough in the United States. Yeah, I mean, like, look at Australia, look at New Zealand, look at, like, even Europe. In Europe, they've locked down to varying degrees, and it's been extremely successful. You know, people don't like it, but no one likes being locked down. That's why they had to brick people into buildings during the Black Plague. If it doesn't make you live forever, lockdown failed. True, Catholic gaming. True.
Right, but I was right. See, perhaps the most mature question a person could ask about any decision, and when you think about it, it really is just about any decision, is what is the cost? What is the price?
You only have to ask that under capitalism. Just pointing that out there.
Now, I've mentioned this, but it's been a while. So if you buy something, the first thing you ask is how much does it cost? What's the price? So you determine, is it worth the price of X amount of money to get that item? Every time you buy something, you are weighing the benefit of the item versus the cost of the money. So if the cost is too much, whatever the benefits, you...
Dennis Prager, we understand. We understand how exchanging money works. Goddamn.
Won't buy it. Right? That's the way all of life works. I'll give you any number of examples. My favorite, because they're so...
He's just gonna list... I like buying cheese at the store. It's very nice. All the different kinds of cheeses that I can buy. There's Gouda and cheddar and a nice smoked biscuit. And he's... Okay, whatever. I'm already upset. I'm already instantly regretting this choice.
Dramatic. Should I get married? There's a cost to getting married. There's a price in marriage. But there's also a price in not marrying, in staying single. Now, if you don't know the costs of either, you cannot make a mature, intelligent, wise decision for yourself. These are the costs of marriage. I don't mean financial costs, though that might be one of the costs. And these are the costs of staying single. If you think getting married has no...
I really want I really want Dennis Prager to explicitly spell out the benefits of staying single. Like, yeah, if you stay single, you can be fucking all the time, just really getting in there, you know? Really getting in there.
No price, you're being naive. And if you don't think that single has no price, you're being naive. They both have prices, so you have to maturely decide, which price do I want? So in getting married, there is a compromise on your freedom. Obviously, you can't do whatever you want anytime you want as if you're single. Now, if that's the most important thing to you, stay single. And if you stay single, the price is you don't have a companion through life. Now, you may say, I don't kind of want a companion through life. Okay, so
wait,
good, but at least...
Wait, what? guys, if you stay single, you can still have deep, meaningful friendships. If you stay single, guys, you can still have like deep, like sexual relationships or romantic relationships with people. You don't need marriage in order to make those happen. What why is Dennis Prager's worldview is that anyone who's like not married is just like a miserable failure? I mean, I know why, but like I just want you to ask yourselves why.
Know that there are overwhelming benefits, in my opinion, to having someone that is your friend. I mean,
He's so sad. He's so sad. He cannot conceive of a world in which someone would want to be his friend unless they were married to him. what what the fuck? I All right, I'm back on board with this video, okay? I'm back on board with this video. It lost me for a second, but it reeled me back in. Yeah, he's very lonely.
to live with your friend, usually of the opposite sex, that's a terrific thing. Now,
You can live with a friend of the opposite sex if you're single too, you dipshit. Goddamn.
I fully acknowledge, and I've gone through it. As I always say, there's nothing better than a good marriage, and there's nothing worse than a bad marriage. People are so afraid, though, of a bad marriage that they don't get married. But that's like saying, I'm afraid of a car crash, so I won't drive. Doesn't make sense to me. You don't live life fearing what could happen bad. Then it's no life. So same with children. What are the benefits of having children? What are the benefits of not having children? What are the costs of having children? What are the costs of not having children? To me, I always opt for what will enrich my life. What will make my life fuller? I don't want to die having not experienced the fullness of life. I felt that when I was 15, and I feel that today. It was a great decision on my part. It entailed pain.
Yeah, he is a parent.
There is usually pain in marriage and children. There is pain. I have been divorced. I know the pain of that.
Yes. Specifically during childbirth, Dennis Prager, there might be some pain associated with that, yes.
I wouldn't take anything back. And I am incredibly grateful to have led a full life because of these decisions. So now we come to the lockdown. What's the cost of a lockdown? What's the cost of not locking down? That's the only question that is mature and responsible. So we are only told the price of no lockdown. More people will die. The number of decisions we make in life for society where more people will die is very large. More people will die when we raise the speed limits. You know that?
Yeah, but Dennis Prager, raising the speed limits has like you can kind of have a statistical average of how many more deaths that will cause versus like if we don't do anything about a pandemic, it just exponentially continues to increase the number of cases and the number of deaths. Like I had to bring this up on the panel yesterday too. Like yeah, heart attacks kill a lot of people, but we don't have a problem right now with exponentially increasing heart attacks. So like I mean like part of this is like yeah, I mean like yeah, there are risks with going out into the average everyday world, people. No one says there aren't. But to like pretend that like having an extra 6 million people die on top of our average yearly death total just so you can keep going about and living your life. Guys, are you seriously going to argue to me that your loneliness or your individual lack of willingness to put yourself into a lockdown situation is worth an entire Holocaust's worth of people? Like, 6 million is an interesting number. William Orange, I specifically picked 6 million because the mortality rate of COVID-19 in the United States is around 2%, which is, 2% of the US population is about 6 million people. So again, like, are you willing to have 6 million people die so you aren't inconvenienced? I would rather be inconvenienced personally, but I can't wait for PragerU to make the argument for allowing a genocide to take place.
Thousands of people, guaranteed, every year will die if we raise the speed limit from, in America, 55 miles per hour to, let's say, 65, or 65 to 75, and so on. But we still do it. Now, why is that? Because saving a life, while that's the greatest thing an individual might be able to do, that is not the greatest thing that a government should be able to do. A government has much larger questions than will anybody die because of this policy. People die when a country goes to war. So you should take the pacifist notion. I'll never fight.
I mean, William of Orange, right now, the mortality rate inside the United States is over 2%. So I'm actually being somewhat conservative with my estimate. And also, again, I'm just saying, are you willing to let a Holocaust's worth of people die? Are you willing to let 6 million people die? Then yeah, you're essentially comfortable with a genocide taking place of like people who are too poor or too weak to get the proper treatment. That's the entire point. Yeah, yeah. Like if you're fine with that happening, yeah. Look, this is the only question I'm posing you guys. Do you want to let an entire Holocaust's worth of people die so that you aren't inconvenienced? Some people might answer yes. I would not. No, the B-mans, the mortality rate is about 2 point something. U.S. COVID mortality rate. Let's see. I guess I can bring up the calculator. Whoop. Bloop. Bloop. All right. Oops. This is going to be some rough math. Everybody hold on to your butts. Yeah. So this is around about the mortality rate for COVID-19 in the United States. So it's a little bit over 2%. And guess what? It's going to be a lot higher if the hospitals are all full. That is out of confirmed cases. WHO estimates 10% of the world population may have it already. Another study estimates the actual number of cases to be 6 to 24 times the confirmed case amount. Well, again, B-mans, if you have better data than I do, if you have a more accurate count of confirmed cases, I would love to see it. Again, my math is very rough. Yeah, so there you go. Where'd you get those numbers from? I got them from the CDC's reporting to Google. So again, if you look up COVID-19 mortality rate, you get the number of people in the United States who have confirmed cases, and you get the number of confirmed deaths. If you want to share links, please send it over to a mod. I'm really sick of having this conversation, though. Like, again, whether or not the mortality rate is up or down like a couple percentage points, we're still looking at millions of people dying. And we knew that at the beginning. So again, are you fine with having a Holocaust's worth of people dying? If the answer is yes, that's fine. But you don't have to try and justify your answer with this bullshit, like, scientific nitpicking.
Fight a war, but there's a price to be paid if you don't fight a war. You get conquered. Now, you say, so what? Right? That's a possible option. So what? That was basically Gandhi's view. Gandhi was a pacifist, told the Jews not to fight the Nazis. A lot of people don't know it, but you can look it up. It's really remarkable. You'll be a great model to the Germans and to the world if you don't fight the Nazis. Meanwhile, if they didn't fight the Nazis, they got exterminated, which is what happened. Every aspect of the lockdown revolves around those questions. So I'd like to tell you, as I have, and I
like how Dennis Prager is just subtly encouraging Indian civil war against the British. Retroactively, I guess, in retrospect. I don't know. I don't know that would have worked out for them very well.
Some of the costs, the tens of millions of people, and this is just America. I actually care about the whole world. The vast numbers of people who have lost all of their money, who have no work. Do you know what happens to people when no one in the family can earn money, even if they do get money from the government or from some charity? Do you know why men jumped out of windows during the Depression, the suicide among men? Because when you, especially for a man, when you remove the ability to provide for a family to a man, you have in effect castrated him. I'm using a very severe parable.
Yes, Dennis Prager. I'm sure no one who has been castrated would have any reason to live anymore. Guys, all the men in my audience, if you were in a severe bike, like motorcycle accident, you know, you're riding your hog, right? You got your girl on the back. You get into a severe accident. Your girl's fine. She landed like a gymnast, right? But you somehow in this freak accident just sheared your testicles straight off. Would you stop being a man? Would you lose all will to live? Would you kill yourself? I don't think most of you would.
Or analogy, but that's really what it does. We get much of our meaning from the ability to provide for a family. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong.
Yeah, Dennis Prager, I think if it's driving people to kill themselves, maybe it might be a little bit wrong. Maybe that's an indication that it's not healthy behavior.
But that's a big part of our self-image and our identity and our sense of worth. People need a sense of worth. The deprivation of this, I'm not talking about the people, hundreds of millions in the world, according to the UN, that are on the brink of starvation because of lockdowns. Remember, if there's no business here, then we're not buying goods from Bangladesh. So the guy or the woman making stuff in Bangladesh is now impoverished.
Again, it doesn't have to be this way. Like, again, and this is what it always boils down to with these people. Like, yeah, we can't possibly lock down because otherwise the poor people in Bangladesh will starve because we're no longer buying things. We can't lock down because otherwise you won't be able to provide to your own family. You can't lock down, like, even you'll lose your reason for living. Except again, a lot of that is predicated on a lot of assumptions based on the economic state. And this is him just assuming that the government wouldn't pay them to stay home. And again, this is a point I made on the panel yesterday. If you pay people to stay home, if the messaging of our government is that it is your duty to stay home, we have a holy war on our hands against an invisible enemy. You know, we need to take our patriotic duty seriously, to rise up and stay home, to keep our loved ones safe, to keep our neighbors safe, to keep that God-given eagle patriot safe, you know? That gives people some purpose. And that allows them to live, and it allows them to keep buying stuff from Bangladesh. So all of these are false choices that he's providing in this video, and it makes me upset to just repeatedly see this, and also get it from you guys in chat. It's very irritating.
They were making a living until the lockdowns in the West, because the buyers in the West stopped buying what they were making in Bangladesh, but the Bangladeshi government doesn't have the money to support them. What do? Or India and so many other places. Talking about irrational lockdowns in Africa, where there were so few deaths, unbelievably few. They still lock down. And now people, again, are back to the brink of starvation in vast parts of Africa. There was an article in the New York Times about truckers in Africa who have no goods to bring. And if they bring the goods, they have to wait at the border till they get themselves checked for COVID. But nobody's dying of COVID in any large numbers in Africa. It's useless. By the way,
a lockdown is most effective when you're not in the middle of a widespread pandemic, Dennis Prager. If we had locked down early in the spread of this pandemic, we could have significantly reduced the amount of cases we have, significantly reduced the amount of deaths we have, and that's what they're fucking doing in Africa. That's why they have this miracle of of very few cases and very few deaths across an entire continent. It's because of what they're doing right now, Dennis Prager. Fuck.
None of this is political. You may think it's political, but it isn't, because right-wing regimes have also done this. Israel, India, Britain is conservative. No, in the United States, it's political. Republican governors do not lock down their states nearly as quickly or as often as Democratic governments. So in America, there is a political. And by the way, the one country that didn't have a lockdown is not a conservative country by any means, Sweden.
Yeah, and Sweden's getting fucked. Guys, the reason Sweden isn't, like, comparable to the US right now is largely because all of its neighboring countries have taken appropriate action. Sweden, on the other hand, and I have this on good authority from friends of mine who live there, is an extremely scary place to live in right now when it comes to COVID-19, because they didn't lock down. Yeah, Sweden has some of the highest COVID mortality rates in Northern Europe. It's not a success story.
Sweden is the proof that lockdowns are useless. Sweden did not lock down.
Fuck.
They're 20th in the world in per capita deaths. And the number keeps getting lower. They'll probably be 25th. They never once, not one day, did they shut schools for kids under 16 years of age. At the height of the pandemic in the spring, they were still going to school in Sweden. Almost nobody wears masks in Sweden. Why aren't they dying on the streets? Probably because of herd immunity. So many people got it in some way.
No,
that they're probably now immune.
Even the Swedish government has come forward and said that they fucked up big time by pursuing herd immunity. I'm trying to find the news report that was sent to me a while back. Oh, what's this? Whoa, top epidemiologist says Sweden has no signs of herd immunity curbing coronavirus? Weird. Super strange. Oh, what's this? Time magazine writing, the Swedish COVID-19 response is a disaster. It shouldn't be a model for the rest of the world. Weird. Curious. Let's see. Oh, where is it? I'm looking for a specific article. Yeah, here we go. Oh, come on. Anyway, basically, there's just a bunch of stuff out there. If you look up Sweden, COVID-19, herd immunity, it's a bunch of articles about how it's been a complete clusterfuck of a decision, and that it's not working. Yeah, let's see. The issue of herd immunity is difficult. Sweden's Anders Tegnell, Sweden's state epidemiologist. We show no signs of immunity in the population that are slowing down the infection right now. Let's see. The country has recorded roughly 250,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases, about 6,500 deaths from the disease, according to figures compiled by Johns Hopkins. Let's see. Advocates of the idea have pointed to Sweden as an example, citing the country's unwillingness to implement lockdown measures inhibiting public life to stop virus's spread. Technol has fought back against those views, however, and in an interview last month, pushed back against the idea that Sweden had pursued a strategy of herd immunity. It's common with other countries. In common with other countries, we're trying to slow down the spread as much as possible. To imply that we let the disease run free without any measures to stop it is not true. I want to make it clear, no, we did not lock down like many other countries, but we definitely had a virtual lockdown. Swedes changed their behavior enormously. We stopped traveling even more than our neighboring countries. The airports had no flights anywhere. The trains were running at a few % of normal service. So there were enormous changes in society. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, just so you know, Dennis Prager's full of bullshit, as usual.
As if they got a vaccine. Sweden, thank God for Sweden. It provided the world this test. People say, well, follow the science. No, they don't mean that. That is a phony phrase. They mean follow the scientists we agree with. The people who say follow the science are lying to you and to themselves. They don't follow the science. They follow the scientists they agree with. Read the Great Barrington Declaration. Epidemiologists from Oxford, Harvard, and Stanford universities headed a group of 1,000, massive number of people in the sciences who were against lockdowns. It wasn't even reported in the mainstream news on television or in print. It wasn't even reported because the left doesn't agree with the Great Barrington Declaration.
What is the... I'm looking this up because I literally have never heard of this before. Yeah, I don't want to... This does not look like a site that I want to look at. Okay. We'll look at it together, okay? Because so far, I'm not really seeing a ton of reputable sources reporting on this. What is this? Okay. Yeah, letting it run rampant, pursuing a herd immunity strategy. Such a strategy would inevitably result in more deaths. American death toll would likely rise between 1 million and 2.5 million. Super cool. Super, super cool. Let's see. I'm going to look up... Yeah, why not? We'll look at the sources here. Okay, we have a Department of Theoretical Epidemiology. Okay. Okay, so basically... I'm not getting the impression that this Great Barrington Declaration is not great. I'm getting that impression. The World Health Organization and numerous academic and public health bodies have stated that the proposed strategy is dangerous, unethical, and lacks sound scientific basis. Let's see. Dozens of public health groups, experts blast herd immunity strategy backed by White House. It followed the recommendations, let's see, 14 public health groups, including Trust for America's Health, American Public Health Association, wrote in an open letter Thursday. The declaration is not a strategy, it is a political statement. It ignores sound public health expertise. It preys on a frustrated populace. Instead of selling false hope that will predictably backfire, we must focus on how to manage the pandemic in a safe, responsible, and equitable way. Yeah. The most compassionate approach that balances... Okay. Yeah, cool. Public health experts generally acknowledge the negative impact of restrictions and agreed that a better balance must be found between protecting public health and helping the economy. Again, fuck the economy. You know what's really bad for the economy? Several million people dying. Anyway. Here we go. Yeah, this is sure a lot of scientists. I'm sure all of these scientists are completely unbiased and represent the totality of agreement in the scientific community. Fuck this. Anyway. If I was doing my due diligence, I acknowledge that I should read this. But also, I'm not committed enough to do it for a PragerU video, okay? I will, however, put it in the notes for the video. You guys can read it yourselves, okay? Oh, yeah, here. I'll post it for you guys. You guys can read it. There you go. Knock yourselves out if you're really interested.
They want people to believe all science says lockdown. You know who supports lockdown?
You know, also, again, it is a misnomer to say that all science supports lockdowns, because even right now, if I go out and say all science supports, the climate change, yeah, people generally all agree with it, but there are going to be some fringe people who don't, even fringe scientists. Also, Relevant Millennial, thank you very much for the 1-month subscription at Tier 1. I very much appreciate it. So, yeah, not everyone agrees with lockdowns. No shit, Sherlock.
By and large, people who have their jobs and incomes. For them, a lockdown is a lot easier than for the poor guy who invested his whole life's savings in his little restaurant in Chicago. That guy it's all lost.
Yeah, you know what would help that guy, Dennis Prager? The idea that you dismissed like 5 seconds into your video of like supporting him economically with payments from the government and supporting his business with payments from the government.
I don't know how he'll recover. Oh, no indoor dining. You can have indoor dining in an airplane. Why can't you have indoor dining in a restaurant? Nobody's ever answered that one for me. I've been on airplanes quite a few times during this time. I take my mask off and dine.
Wait, what? Herd immunity letter signed by fake experts, including Dr. Johnny Bananas. What? And Professor Cominic Drummings. Oh my gosh. Others listed include a resident of the University of your mom and another supposed specialist whose name was the first verse of the Macarena. Oh my gosh. They discovered 18 self-declared homeopaths. So basically anyone could have signed this and called them a scientist. That's amazing. Thank you very much for posting that in chat. I appreciate it.
You can't dine with a mask on. And they weren't 8 feet away from me. They were a foot or 5 inches away from me. People not dying from airplane travel. Why not? Indoor dining's fine.
Yeah, the small business owner lost everything not because of lockdowns, but because the systems we put in place to support small business were defrauded by big business. If the universe was fair, Dennis Prager would have caught a massive case of COVID-19. Oh, yeah, I mean, maybe. Let's see.
On airplanes. You know why? Because the governments think that airlines must survive. And they're right. I agree with that. Why doesn't the little guy who owns a restaurant have to survive? Because the little...
These are the words of someone who has never played a Pandemic before. Gotta shut down those airlines, otherwise the virus will get you. You know.
Little guy doesn't mean a damn to the left. That's the irony. They speak in their names, but they don't care about them. Anyway, the small business owner is probably not a Democrat anyway. So what? So if he goes out of business, so what? There's always the big guys who are big contributors to the Democratic Party.
Yeah. No Democrats run businesses in America. Only Republicans run businesses. This is fucking stupid.
It's a very sad situation. So we're told, don't get together for the holidays.
Thank you for reminding me. I was playing XCOM 2 earlier, and then I stopped because I lost, and I got mad. There we go. We're back in politics, Omniscient Observer. We're back in politics. Thank you very much.
I will. Having the same number of people for Thanksgiving as I did last year. And I'll be one of the older ones at the gathering. I am more at risk than the younger ones. My daughter-in-law just got COVID just yesterday. Spoke to her.
My daughter-in-law just got COVID just yesterday. She's going to be coming over. I want her to cough on my turkey.
Today on the phone. How are you? I got a sniffle. That's her COVID experience. The vast majority of people under 70, that's their COVID experience, a sniffle. Of course, there are people who die from it under 60. There are people who die in car crashes. Nobody's advocating not driving.
Again, we don't have an epidemic of exponentially increasing car crashes. What the fuck is this argument? Yeah, Omniscient Observer. I usually stream in politics. Sometimes I go into just chatting, but like, I don't know, I feel like I get more people in politics. Are there 2 pillows behind his back, or is he enormous? I mean, I think he has some pillows back there. There's at least one. I don't know. Do you guys think I would get more viewers if I was in just chatting? I'm not sure. I'm usually talking about politics, so I figure I should be in politics. Anyway.
It's been an immoral thing all over the world. I'll end with one thing. I've been really racking my brain to figure out why our leaders, right and left, why are they so pro-lockdown? This is what I think. I may be wrong. This is my theory. These people are frightened beyond words of going down in history as under their watch, the following number of their countrymen died. That's what I think it's about. The governor of New York State, when he locked down New York State, which was completely immoral. Why was Syracuse and Buffalo?
Yes. Letting millions of people die so you aren't inconvenienced is bad. Yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, yeah, of course we don't want millions of people to die from a preventable illness.
And little towns upstate New York, why would they lock down when all the deaths were in New York City? It's an incredibly immoral thing to do.
Because people from the city go to rural areas, dipshit. That's why it's all across the Midwest now. Fuck. It's like he doesn't understand that viruses are contagious.
Anyway, he said at the time, if everything I do saves one life, I will be happy. The governor of New York, Governor Cuomo. Really? If all the people you put out of work just saves one life, you'll be happy? These are people who never ask, what is the price? Okay.
Yeah, Oscar Schindler, like, he never really asked himself what the price was, you know, when he saved all those Jewish folk in Nazi-controlled Germany. I mean, think about it, guys. He took away like an honest source of business. Like he did irreparable harm by making that decision. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. Anyway.
Nope.
Oh,
Video question.
God.
Take it away.
Hi there, Mr. Prager. My name is Verena Youssef, and I'm a 20-year-old Egyptian Australian currently residing in Melbourne, Victoria. You recently mentioned that a lot of young Jews are leaning towards the left, and that's primarily due to the fact that they conflate conservatism with Nazism. So could you please expand on that and also outline other factors that have contributed to this political conversion? Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, guys, brace yourselves. The stupid is coming, okay? The stupid is coming. I'm skipping class. Okay, Carly Mack, please do go to class, you know? I do appreciate you being here, though. Thank you very much. Holy moly. Alright. Alright.
Now, is she special or is she special? An Egyptian Australian.
Yeah, wait. I need to back this up because he's about to say something really offensive because she's ethnic. And he does this every single time someone who's not from America talks. He's gonna say something along the lines of, she speaks English very well. But also, props to Serious Twitch. How dare they take away the job of running mobile morgues from hardworking people? Because, like, that's honestly what they're talking about. It's weird. It's roughly equivalent. All right, we can have him on half speed. I'll allow that.
Asking.
So could you please expand on that and also outline other factors that have contributed to this political conversion? Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, I'm not going to do 0.5, I'll do 0.75.
Now, is she special or is she special? An Egyptian Australian asking me why Jews conflate conservatism and Nazism. I love it. I do love it. You are very impressive. I hope we meet one day. Alf shukran means 1,000 thanks in Arabic. But Megan knew it. Why am I explaining it to Megan? I can't believe it. Megan's married to a Filipino, so obviously she would know Arabic.
Of course.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, in Tagalog, it's salamat, correct? Thank you. Huh?
Salamat.
Salamat, yep.
I can't do it, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay. Good man or husband. But you have never seen his arm. All right. It's not just young Jews.
Wait, did he just fart?
His arm. All right. It's not just
Oh,
young.
no. He was making a mouth noise. He was making a mouth noise, people. All right.
Jews, Reina. It's Jews in general who identify not conservatism as much as just right wing. The word right wing, for most Jews, immediately conjures up a swastika in their mind. That's a big part of the issue. Immediately
Wait, I need to slow down the stupid, okay?
Conjures up a swastika in their mind. That's a big part of the issue. Hitler was called right wing. The Jews believe he is right wing. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just telling you what it is. Hitler was not right wing and Hitler was not left wing. Remember, Nazism stands for National Socialism. Most 99% of humanity doesn't know that, but that's what Nazism means. National.
I need to slow it down because if I make it too fast, it's going to penetrate my brain and I will literally die on stream. Okay, so guys, literally, if you're in the political space at all, you will hear this kind of clarification all the time. Conservatives say this all the time. One of the main talking points right now or at least has been, that like it's it's not socialism, A, and B, it's not fucking, it's obviously on the political axes. Why do you think they first went for they went for the trade unionists, Dennis Prager? They went for the socialists and the communists, Dennis Prager. Yeah, it was a fascist party. But fascism is generally extremely right-wing. This is why neo-Nazis align on the right of the political spectrum. Yeah, like, holy shit. Like, the idea that they weren't either. I mean, they had socialist in the name, so they must have been left. But they also had nationalist in the name, so they must have been right. So it was like a Mario cheat code, and they warped off of the political spectrum, and they just became something else. You know, it's like when you divide a number by 0. It just doesn't make sense. That's what the Nazis were. God damn.
Socialism. So it's just worth noting. Hitler was race-based. Race-based is not left-wing or right-wing. It's just sick. And anyway, whatever the...
No, he had political ideologies, Dennis Prager. What the fuck are you talking about? He had policies. He had programs. Does Dennis Prager think that someone only aligns with like a political ideology if they come out, look dead into the camera and say, yes, I am a right winger. I am conservative. Does he think that that's the only situation in which that like it applies? Or does he not realize that you can like look at someone's policies and kind of like place them into a political category? Yeah, exactly, Neko-chan. Exactly.
The issue is the left hated him, so therefore he's called right. All right, so Jews bought this?
No! Fuck. No.
Which is understandable. Not correct, but understandable. And it's not a debate I ever get into, was Hitler right or left? Okay, Hitler was sui generis. In other words, his own unique thing. But again, it's beside the point.
I feel like inventing your own category to deny culpability of like a lie. I feel like inventing your own political category to justify how someone who's an objectively awful human being wasn't really politically aligned with your values is like, I don't know, maybe a bit sus, you know? I feel like if this was a game of Among Us, it would be sus. You would get voted off the spaceship.
Point. Jews identify right-wing with anti-Semitism. It's instinctive, this reaction. It is not thought through. And I'll give you my great analogy.
Yeah, because Jews are sheep, and they can't think for themselves, apparently, in Dennis Prager's world. Gosh. Jewish people are intelligent and amazing. The fact that he doesn't think that, like, Jewish people are capable of, like, higher thought on this issue is really weird. Yeah, true. Carrie Mack, true. The Democrats used to be the white supremacist party. But that's largely because they were politically the conservative party at the time. The parties ideologically shifted after on the subject of segregation. So the Democratic Party became the Liberal Party, like the lefty party. So like there wasn't an ideological shift of like the Nazi Party in Nazi Germany. It's true, Redmond Barry. I am an evil lefty. It's true.
Analogy. Imagine your grandfather was killed by a hit and run driver coming from the right, right? You cross the street coming from the right, a hit and run driver killed your grandfather. So would you, when you cross the street, only look at the right when you cross the street for hit and run drivers?
Fucking stupid.
That's what Jews.
He has a smile on his face, like he's making a good point. This is the worst thing I've ever heard him say. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible.
Have done. They got hit from the right, they only look to the right. Like they can't get hit from the left. But the place of most anti-Semitism today in America and the West is the left. Jeremy Corbyn in Britain.
I don't know, dude. You just seem to imply that Jewish people aren't capable of higher thought. Like, what the fuck? This seems pretty anti-Semitic to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Chat, am I reading too much into this? Oh, I don't deny that there are anti-Semites on the left. I absolutely do not. Jewish people are some of the most discriminated against people in the United States. I think, in fact, like, more hate crimes are committed in the United States against Jewish people than any other minority group. But, like, yeah, I think pretending that, like, most of the anti-Semitism is coming from the left is not a good take, especially when literal neo-Nazis align themselves on the right. So yeah, I will always acknowledge that there are racists and there are anti-Semites and there are bad people on both sides, but there are a lot more on one side, and it ain't the left. Is your mouse on his nose? Maybe.
Head of the Labor Party was an anti-Semite. And the number of anti-Semites on the left in the U.S. dwarfs the number of anti-Semites on the right. The right are the Jews' best friends right now in almost every country.
Hey, Rule.James, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it. By the way, everyone should go follow Ruel. They were on the panel, open panel I was on last night, and it seemed pretty cool. So... I need the dot in there. James. There we go. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Nah, I love you. Shitting on Dennis Prager. You know I gotta hop in this chat. Yeah, Dennis Prager is just telling us about how Jews aren't capable of higher level thinking. And so they just assume that Hitler is a far-right extremist. Serenity Captain, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I very much appreciate it. Dennis Prager is not claiming that the Nazis were leftists. He's claiming something more spectacular, and it's that they just yeeted themselves off the political spectrum, and they don't exist in a left-right spectrum at all. It's pretty wild. Also, Serenity Captain, thank you very much for the 2 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you. That's real rad of you. Yeah, he very carefully accentuated that they were socialists, you know? Y'all are great. Yeah, and again, everyone in chat, be sure to go follow Ruel. They're awesome, okay? And they have great hair. Just have to say it, okay? Right-wing Nazis are an illusion. Dennis Prager 2020. Yeah, apparently.
But what are you going to do? Most people do not think in life. Most people react. They don't think things through. It doesn't shock me. I never had a high view of humanity. I have a high view of humans.
True. Ruel is a
There
dork.
are wonderful,
True.
spectacular humans
It's a
in this
technical
world.
term.
Humanity is unimpressive. And that's the way it is. It's completely unthought through, but that's the reason.
Some of the panel.
All
True.
right. Let's go to more of your questions. How are we doing on time?
22.
Great. Sam, 12 years old, Stillwater, Minnesota. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Sam. I was wondering if the left will shut down the country again and make the small businesses fail, and what we should do to stop it. P.S. I saw you at the Minnesota State Fair as a baby and got a picture. It was great. Is that awesome?
This is really sad. What 12-year-old writes into PragerU? Someone needs to call like the community resource officer or something to check on that kid, okay? A white 12-year-old. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh gosh.
So Sam is 12 now, so this was, like 11 years ago. That's great. We should get another picture, but I am not returning to the Minnesota State Fair. I am
Why
Minnesota
not?
State Faired out.
Fuck you.
That
Minnesota
is
State
about
Fair
as
is
hot
great.
an environment as you can enter without being hospitalized. The Minnesota State Fair in August? And
Yeah, it's more dangerous than meeting with your family during a pandemic, I guess.
anyway, I love visiting Minnesota. I've probably been there 24 times. But that is adorable that there's a picture of you and me in when you were a baby. That's sweet. So the question is, what could we do about it? About the small businesses failing? What should we do to stop it? Don't listen to the governors. They have no right to tell you you can't make an income. None. They are tyrants. But you see, we accept the tyranny because it's done in the name of health.
Oh, wait. Dennis Prager, are you advocating for armed resistance to the government? Are you breaking YouTube terms of service right now? Like, gosh, dang, guys. The tyrant governors, they must be kidnapped and held on trial by the people in undisclosed locations. By a small armed group. This is what he is advocating. Like the end game of what he advocates for. It's wild.
Every nation has accepted tyranny. Every nation that has had tyrants has accepted tyranny in the name of something terrific.
Yeah, again, and this is an example that I pulled up yesterday on the panel, and I keep going back to that, but these arguments are just really stupid. If we had a foreign adversary, if we had, Canada, Ruel decides to declare war on the United States and invades Minnesota, and killed 250,000 people, would we not be justified in taking emergency action to prevent such death? Would we not be justified in taking extraordinary measures to protect people's lives? I think we would. And this whole Dennis Prager argument of actually, it's fine if millions of people die because it's your right to make a living. Canada would apologize after the mass slaughter. That's true.
Or something they believe
Yeah,
in.
I'm kind of amazed he's advocating breaking the law to a 12-year-old child. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty amazing. Yeah. Hello, Vivova. I hope you're having a fantastic evening.
The current...
By the way, what were you guys talking about over on Ruel's stream? Dennis Prager is the kid in class with more right-leaning homework.
God is health. So for the God of health, we can ruin tens of millions of lives. We could have more people go on drugs, more people become alcoholic, more addicts who are recovering regress and go back to drinking or go back to drugs or go back to gambling.
I love that his current argument is that the lockdowns have caused more people to die from drinking and drugs than the pandemic that is exponentially killing more people. This is some really big, smooth brain take. The biggest of big brain takes, honestly.
Or go back to whatever their addiction was. That's okay, because it's all done in the name of health. Safetyism, it's called. So don't listen. This has disturbed me greatly about the American people. I had not only an affection for, but a belief that they...
Also, again, Dennis Prager, drinking yourself to death is legal. I thought he was pro-freedom over here. Apparently he's against you using your freedom to do drugs and alcohol. Wow, I'm surprised. Why is Dennis Prager, a man of God, instead worshiping health? Why is he doing this? World may never know.
This was a people that really loved liberty.
Yes, Dennis Prager is done talking about the Jewish question.
And I turned out to be wrong. The left has done its damage. Americans loved liberty until the last two generations. In the 1968-69, there was a huge epidemic, the Hong Kong flu. Took the equivalent of 165,000 Americans.
He's talking about this again. We fucking went over this. The Hong Kong flu killed a ton of people. And it only ended when we found a vaccine for it. I did this last time too. Here we go. We're gonna take a look at it again. God damn it. Let's take a look at this. Do 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 do. All right. All right. Let's see. The death rate from the Hong Kong flu was lower than other 20th century pandemics. Weird. Weird how that happened. It was lower mortality than other 20th century pandemics. Weird. Strange. Wild. Wait, let's see. How did America deal with the virus? Estimated in total, the virus caused the deaths of over 1 million people worldwide. Guess what? We're already at that. And it's been less than a year in the United States. From its beginning in July 1968 until the outbreak faded during the winter of 1969 to 70. Yeah, U.S. health authorities estimated that about 34,000 to 100,000 people died in the United States. We're already at over double the maximum estimate for this pandemic. Jeez. Good night, Relevant Millennial. I've loved having you here, okay? Anyway. Yeah. It's not comparable, is the point I'm making here.
American lives. Nothing closed down. Nothing. Not one store, not one business, not one restaurant, not one school.
Yeah, exactly, Ruel.
It's a different America today because the left has been able to raise 2 more generations through the media and through academia. Stan, 20...
Damn. I guess we just have to wait then, don't we? We just have to wait. Just have to outwait the likes of Dennis Prager.
Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Been to Cherry Hill a number of times, right outside of Philadelphia. Do you think the people supporting socialism, Marxism, realize there is no way back to freedom once they vote for socialism? They don't think they're voting for socialism, and many, well, I take that back. Socialism does not have a dirty name now.
It's true.
Because people don't know history. You're not taught history at.
My dude, I love this. I'm gonna go on a rant after he's done giving this answer.
At high school or college. I've always said I would like to do
to be a middle-aged white dude with an okay camera and have everyone take what I say seriously.
Harvard students.
Ruel, you do have a good camera,
even
though.
Seniors. Identify the Gulag Archipelago. If you don't know what the Gulag Archipelago is, that's a very bad sign. I wonder how many know who Stalin was. I'll bet you almost none know who Pol Pot was. The communist leader in Cambodia who killed a third of his people. Or the Great Leap Forward in China, which ultimately caused about 40 to 70 million Chinese to starve to death. Deliberately, Mao sent the food to Russia, the Soviet Union, to get arms because he wanted to have a great military power. Yep. David, 20, Slovenia.
All right. So, let's talk a little bit about socialism and the history of socialism, because Dennis Prager apparently just takes it for granted that the USSR was socialist. It wasn't. It wasn't fucking socialist. So, here's the thing, guys. Socialism has been around longer than the USSR. It predates Marx. There were people talking about socialist ideas for a very long time prior to Karl Marx coming onto the scene. Marx just happened to write a book that people really, really liked about socialism, okay? And this is, like, a pet peeve of mine, right? Because I constantly have to explain this, but there emerged two sets of thought about socialism, okay? There was evolutionary socialism, and then there was revolutionary socialism. And essentially, evolutionary socialism was working through the mechanisms of bourgeois democracy in order to obtain power over the state, and using the power of the state, you could then transition into a socialist society. When we, well, I want to explain this, okay? I'm sorry if it's boring, but I feel like I constantly need to explain it, and I like doing it, you know? I like dispelling this historical myth. And then there's revolutionary socialism, which is taking control over the state using violence, and then using the power of the state to transition into a socialist society. So when people are basically saying, do you think the Bernstein book is good reading? I don't know. I haven't read a lot of theory. But essentially, what happened in the USSR was essentially they overthrew the Tsar because the Tsar was terrible and feudalism was dying at the time. And they, with the goal of using the power of the state to then establish a socialist country, right? However, then World War I happened. And then they got invaded by a bunch of allied powers, including the United States. We sent 10,000 troops over onto Russian soil. Then World War II happened. And by then, Stalin was in power. And Stalin, after World War II ended, basically was like, I have control over the state. I'm just going to call this socialism. So they never used the power of the state to transition over into socialism. Workers did not have control over the means of production in Russia. They did not have a say in like democratic workplaces at all. So to characterize Russia as socialist is a gross mischaracterization of like their actual policies. They were an authoritarian state with a highly centralized planned economy that conducted state capitalism. And then, yeah, the Russian revolutions happened. Yeah. It all happened at the same time. There's a lot of overlap here. I'm just, for the sake of clarity, they happened at different times. Yeah, it's like saying the U.S. is only capitalist. True. The same with Russia. Russia did a violent revolution. They overthrew the power of the state. They overthrew the state, and they took control. And then they created. They attempted, to China's credit, they did attempt like communism, and it just didn't work. And instead, they eventually settled onto what they are now, which is a highly centralized authoritarian government with with a highly planned economy and centralized economy that engages in state capitalism. So like these are the things that they do. We have never had a country that got control over the state and then transitioned into socialism. The closest you might be able to argue for is Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia after World War II was utterly devastated. And basically, they elected Joseph Tito, and under Tito, they embraced market socialism. And by all accounts that I've read, Yugoslavia had definitely had problems, but even to this day, a lot of people remember it extremely fondly because it was one of the fastest recovering nations after World War II. They had a worker co-op society. They had decommodified systems. And for most of the 20th century after World War II, they were living pretty well. What eventually brought them down was the oil bust of the 80s, and then the dissolution of the USSR, and then some of the loans that they had taken from the IMF sank their economy. And so, like, this eventually doomed Yugoslavia. And after it kind of broke apart, that's when you got a lot of the ethnic hatreds flaring up again. But you could also maybe make the argument for Cuba, but I don't know enough about, like, Cuba's inner workings to really have a coherent stance on Cuba. So, like, the idea that, like, socialism is gulags is absolutely silly and ridiculous. That's authoritarianism. It's not socialism. Socialism increases your freedom by giving you agency in your workplace. That was the entire point of socialism. Like, guys, the inherent concept of socialism is having democracy in the workplace. So you have control over your working environment, so you don't have to, like, eat shit off the floor if your boss tells you to, or you get fired. Yeah, it's turning a tyrannical organization into something that everyone in the business collectively owns. And I think that that's something that inherently increases your freedom. It's the reason why we overthrew tyrants in the first place. Anyway.
I was in Slovenia, had a great time. Hi, Dennis. This is a short one. How does one acquire wisdom? That is awesome. By the way, the short ones are the toughest. In episode 158, you talk about courage. You said something to the effect, to be courageous, you have to want to be courageous. That's exactly what I said. Is it similar with wisdom? Where to start? Thank you. And can you give a rub to the producer, Megan? Otto already gets enough. That is a very good point. Are you feeling neglected, Megan?
Not really.
Not really.
Gross.
Good. Okay. But it was a very thoughtful thing.
Great.
That was very sweet. Okay. So that's right. Is it the similar with wisdom? Yes. The first step to becoming wise is wanting to be wise. But if I gave a list of things to high school students, how old are you? Let's see, 20. And 20-year-olds, in 20-year-olds in Slovenia or in New Jersey, if I gave a list, what do you most want to be? And wise was one of them. I have a feeling famous would beat it out, smart would beat it out, successful would beat it out, happy would beat it out, rich would beat it out, good looking would beat it out. Wise? Nobody thinks about it. I thought about it because
Dennis, nobody gives a fuck about being wise, Prager. I love it.
I admit I've always had an innate desire to get wisdom. But the other is I studied in a religious school. That's the beauty of religious schools. That they teach you wisdom. There's no wisdom taught in schools today.
Wait, you just talked about learning wisdom in school, Dennis Prager. God, his brain, I swear, it's the size of like a raisin in there.
That's the whole point. That's the difference between secular education and religious education. You may get a better education in trigonometry in a secular school, but you'll get more wisdom in a religious school. In a good religious school, obviously. There are probably lousy religious schools. But that's what I got. And the fact...
Meyer Lurk Patties, hello! I hope you enjoy however much time you spend in my community. I do somewhat understand the push for worker co-ops, but I hope folks are looking toward anti-work. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by anti-work, but basically I want to combine worker co-ops with decommodification so that if people don't want to work, they don't have to. I think that the coercion of capital is one of the worst things about capitalism, and I would much rather live in a society where people willingly work than have people who are forced to work, you know? So that's my position. I would like people to be able to not work if they want to.
The fact that you want to be wise, that's it. That's beautiful. That really is half the issue. Then you search for meaning and for wisdom. And one way of getting wisdom is to always ask the question, what is the price paid for X? Big government is another perfect example of what I was talking about at the outset. The advantages of big government takes care of more people. The disadvantage of big government takes care of more people. The price and the advantage are the identical thing. Like there's a big problem when the government takes care of more people. You don't. If the government takes care of me, my family, and my community, then I don't take care of me, my family, and my community, correct?
Who do you think is part of the government, Dennis Prager? You would be voting... In a democracy, you vote for the government to do things, Dennis Prager. Fuck. This is one of the more frustrating ones of these. Usually I'm pretty good with them. Yeah, what the fuck is he even saying? True. But what would imply Dennis actually believes in democracy? Well, true. Yeah, reckon government employees and people. True. I don't even know what that accent that just came out of my mouth is. Banjo HD, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I very much appreciate it. Does he think the government is run by ants? That would actually be pretty dope. Socialism is when the government does stuff. True! Nachtgeist 18 in on the meme. And also Nachtgeist, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. Truly, you are worthy of the numerals that follow your name. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. But I appreciate you very much. And welcome to the community. This has been...
That's why Americans give more charity than Europeans.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. His position is largely that independent charity trumps government programs. In his world, the independent charitable giving of rich people offsets actually having government programs, which is fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. Who do you think wields more power? The government, who can pour over $1 trillion into programs that benefit people? Or your lone millionaire who gives like $4,000 to charity and calls it a day?
Because Americans have been raised to we take care of each other. Europeans have been raised, the government takes care of us.
Oh yeah,
and
charity is a scam.
Conservatives give more charity than liberals because they and devote more time to volunteering because they're not going to wait for the government to do it.
And because Republicans tend to be wealthier than Democrats, so they have more disposable income to donate. And also they tend to be have more free time that they can use to donate. Volunteer work. God damn it. I can't even coherently form sentences. I'm so upset.
The more people get used to the government taking
And guys, let me give some context. For the past 7 years, I've written for a charity that helps kids across the United States and Canada afford medical expenses. You know what I would much rather have in place of this charity? A government program that ensures that all children in the United States get medical treatment. Because you know what? In the United States right now, there are around 45 to 50 million children who are either completely uninsured, meaning that they just won't be able to afford medical treatment, or are underinsured, meaning their family is so poor that they can't cover the full cost of insurance. So, I would much rather a government program just decommodify health insurance to cover all of us. I would much rather that, because it would help more children. It would help more children than the charity that I specifically work for that raises millions of dollars every year. Yeah, and exactly. The government doing stuff doesn't mean charities have no place. It's absolutely... Yeah, that's the other thing. You know what would be great? Is if the charity that I work for that helps sick and injured kids, instead of spending all of the money that they raise on helping kids just afford treatment, we're able instead to outfit more hospitals with better supplies, buy kids toys to make them more comfortable, build expansions to hospitals to improve the quality of patients that in children's hospitals. This is stuff that I would prefer vastly over a Band-Aid solution to an ongoing problem that doesn't do nearly enough. But apparently we're not taking care of each other enough.
Care of others, they stop taking care of others. See my speech on the internet at the University of Wyoming, how socialism makes you selfish. Good luck there. David in Slovenia. What's our timing?
30.
On the nose. I have more great questions, but I don't have more great time.
Hope rich people do something.
Anyway, my thought is it is better to leave you wanting more than not. Or as I always say at speeches, from the beginning of my speaking career, I believed it is better for the speaker to leave before the audience does. That's with that.
Yeah, Lebenkran, that's literally your statement, socialism equals Stalinism, is literally what these people think. They don't understand the distinction. Also, leftist Lorax, A, I love your name, and B, thank you very much for hitting that follow button.
Terribly profound thought. Thank you for being with me. I'm Dennis Prager. This is the Fireside Chat, and I will see you next week.
All right, guys.
When you think of accounting,
I have bad news for you. I plan to do multiple PragerU videos.